Welcome to April. We're getting there, right? Well, actually, I shouldn't say, I guess I jumped on it prematurely. We are just finishing up March, so not quite April. I was in week 11. I was rushing us too much. Hey, just wanted to talk to you a little bit about what you're doing this week. We're hitting the ground running here following spring break, and what you read last week, if I could just kind of slide this up, I'm looking at the syllabus and review. These essays right here are the sources for your illustration essay. So some of you have already started asking me about topics. Topic choice comes in the following week when we launch the real April, and the research paper that's going to be our paper final. So the illustration paper is our last paper of the quarter, or of the semester rather. That's the 3 to 4 page paper based on the textbook essays. Okay, then we're going to kind of branch off and do a little bit more independent type of research. So let's focus on this illustration essay. A couple things to keep in mind. First of all, you have 2 assignments this week. You've got the peer edit and the final draft. Let's try to make those peer edits extra meaningful by, first of all, putting out there in our initial post something that's worthy of being edited, not just a thesis statement. Let's push it a little bit here. And instead of just kind of an attaboy, attagirl response, give some really concrete, don't just say check your grammar, but say, hey, I noticed this specific grammar error. Or if you don't think their thesis is very argumentative, let them know that. This is going to be a little trickier paper. I purposely kind of stacked the papers this way. This paper is going to ask you to do some synthesis, which that means basically taking more than one of these sources to support a single argument. You can do this in a way where the one source supports and the other one rejects the argument, so they could be the they say and I say, as if those two authors were talking to one another. The connection may be not have that kind of overlap to be able to do that, however, and so you might need to find something that both supports the argument that you're making. Maybe they both make a similar argument and you agree or disagree or would add this, that type of thing. So basically the themes that are addressed in these essays are going to be what fuel your argument, along with your own personal illustrations. And that's where I say you can have a somewhat original argument as long as it ties into the essays. There's no outside research, not allowed to do outside research, just these resources. It's meant to be a little bit challenging. So if you're feeling like, oh, I'm not seeing this, try to step back and look for common threads as you read, annotate, make notes, highlight, tab things with sticky notes, whatever you do, so that when you go back, you can say, you know what, there are some similar big ideas. I will say this. Almost all of them have a very strong theme about communicating ideas, and all of them themselves are examples of illustration in essays. Okay, so let's go ahead and skip over to the classroom right now and see how this really plays out. I just want to show you some resources and so forth in the course content. This is my view. Let's go into what you see. All right, and we're on the illustration essay. Let's back up to week 2. I lied. Let's go to the next one. I try not to lie too often. Okay, load please. Okay, there we go. And remember your feedback form when you finally finish up the publication part. Okay, so here's the feedback form that you're going to be copying and pasting. Just wanted to review that with you. Let's back up one other step here. That's what I was looking for. Okay. Okay, little humor here. Go ahead and read that on your own. Here are some ideas for building a synthesis essay. Okay. Some of these are repeat of things I've mentioned before. So do look through them. And I believe that perhaps in one of these resources, I'm pretty sure I loaded a synthesis worksheet. If nothing else, it might be over here in resources. Let me just check that. Argument templates might be helpful. I'm trying to find, I think there's a synthesis form of some sort. Maybe it's in this discussion board piece. Sorry, I should have looked for this ahead. I'm taking all your time. I'll tell you what, I will make sure to load the synthesis resource so that if it's not already in here, you have kind of a template to follow. But some guidelines from even just a different perspective. But the idea here is that you're using two sources and you're making a central argument. And you can use those sources pretty much any way you want, whether to refute them or to build on or to match them. But you're going to use more than one source, and it's not going to be a summary response. There's going to be more connection to it than that. You're going to be using things like both these resources, or contrary to this resource says, okay, those types of phrases. So I'll get that synthesis worksheet to you in one of these little, I'll build it in somewhere here for you, and if it's not already there, and that would also help just so you can have a template to follow. If you have any questions, give me a shout. Have a great week.